Welcome to Class Online School, and today I am going to take you business study as our course of study for today, and we are going proper into journal. The last time we talked about source document. So in our class today we are going to talk about the meaning of journal, types of journal, and if time permits, we'll take a little format of how a journal looks like. Now, what is journal in bookkeeping? We are going to explain what journal is based on our course of study, which is business studies under bookkeeping. When we talk about journal, it's a book of original entry. And so when you are defining journal, don't forget that word, book of original entry. So a journal is a book of original entry that explains in detail the financial recordings of an organization. A journal is an original book of accounts that explain in detail the financial transactions that took place in an organization or in a business. And these recordings are used to reconcile the accounts of an organization. These recordings are used for future purpose too, and it is used to transfer entries to other normal official books of accounts. So by and large, you can say that the journal in bookkeeping is a book of original entry, and so a journal is a detailed account that records all the financial transactions of a business. And this is to be used for future purpose, for reconciliation of accounts and transfer of accounts to other official accounting records or books, such as the general ledger. Now, we have seen what a journal is. Don't forget that we said is the book of original entry. Don't equally forget that another ingredient or another major element of a journal is that it is used to record business transactions that might be used for reconciling other accounts, that might be used to prepare official accounting books. As we go further in bookkeeping, we are going to see how it is being used, these entries that are made into a ledger. Haven't seen what a ledger is, haven't seen what a journal is. We are going next to types of journal. Basically in bookkeeping, we have 7 types of journal. We have the first one, the purchase journal, the sales journal, the cash receipts journal, the purchase return journal, the cash payment journal, the sales return journal. Then we have the general ledger, or sometimes it is referred to the journal proper. These are the 7 types of journals that we have. Now let's try to explain them one after the other. What is a purchase journal? A purchase journal is a kind of journal entry that purchase transactions are recorded. All purchases that are made by the organization are recorded in the purchase journal. And so when you are preparing a journal and there are products bought or assets bought, it is recorded in the purchase journal. What about sales journal? Sales journal records the sales that are made in the business. So all sales made in the business are recorded in the sales journal. Now, equally, under this sales journal too, we have discounts on sales. Any discount mailed on sales too are recorded under the sales journal, so that you know how much discount you've given out to customers. The next one is cash receipts. You know that sometimes sales might be in form of cash or in form of debt. And so there are sales that are made and cash are received immediately. And there are sales that are made and cash are not received. And so those sales made and cash comes into the organization. It is recorded here. Sometimes cash receipts from business, from buyers are recorded here. Cash received from sales of assets are equally recorded here. So this is where the receipt, a cash receipt journal are placed. Then purchase return. There are times your customer buys a particular goods, and once he buys this particular goods, sometimes they return these goods. Once such goods are returned, it is recorded in a purchase return journal that so goods number so has been returned back to the organization, and so it is entered in the purchase journal. Having seen what a purchase journal is now, we go to cash payments. Every organization buys something from others. So in cash payment, the organization pays out. They pays out money, cash payment. Sometimes it might be loans collected from banks. And so in cash payment, the organization sends out this money to such banks. And sometimes it might be raw materials that are needed for production. Cash payments are required. And so such payments being made comes under the cash payment journal. Then we move to the number 6 item, which is sales return. Now, you find out that purchase return and sales return are different. Let me try to differentiate them. Purchase return are things the organization buys, but they are not in good condition or they did not meet specification. They return it to those who sells to them. But in the case of sales return is from the company to others, and then it is returned back to the company. So any transaction that has to do with return of products or whatever the organization or business produces and it is returned back to them, such transactions are recorded under the sales return. So note the difference between purchase return and sales return. The purchase return is what the organization buys and they are taking it back. The sales return is what the organization sells and they are bringing it back to them because it didn't meet their specification. Having noted the difference between sales and purchase, we go to the number 7th one, which is general ledger or general or proper journal, or we talk about journal proper. So it's either referred to as general journal or journal proper. Whichever one it is called, it is correct. This general or journal proper are all transactions that did not fit into any of these 6. It didn't fit into any of these purchase, the sales, the cash receipts, the purchase return, the cash payment, the sales return, and Yeah, it says return. If this transaction are not recorded in any of these journals, it is then taken straight to the journal proper. So all transactions that did not fall into any of these recordings are taken to the journal proper. From the journal proper, they can know accounts that it will best fit into. So this is the type of journal entry that we have. We've seen the forms, we have seen the meaning, and we have seen the types. Let's take an example of the format of a journal.